Welcome to Meet the Biz. Today we have, he is the leading resource for speakers and trainers with a disability since 1987. He is a wonderful, supporting and loving man, incredible, Marc Goldman. Marc Goldman, hello.
Hello.
I love, okay, I want to come visit. That looks great. Oh my God.
You can tell I don't have a house in the city, that's for sure.
Right. Oh God, can you tell I have an apartment in the city?
It looks lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
My little corner.
Yeah.
So you have some of the most amazing keynote speakers and performers: JEWELL, Temple Grandin, Josh Blue, Chet Cooper, Kathy Buckley, Lou Ferrigno. I could keep on going. Matt Savage. What made you decide to create this amazing business?
It all kind of fell together. And it right, and it felt good, and kind of left the little glitzy corner that I was in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it just kind of felt good, and I felt that I was doing what I should be doing.
Now, why disability? What made you go to that part of it?
I'm asked that all the time, and I have no answer. It just felt as if it's something I should be doing. You know, as we say, you perform a mitzvah each day, and this is mine.
Right. Well, and you got a master's degree in education. Were you ever an official teacher?
Yes, I was official teacher. I was an official administrator. Actually, for almost years, I was coordinator of business and office education for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Of which at that time, I was already working with one part of the Federal Vocational Education Act, which was disadvantaged and handicapped education.
Oh, and for how many years were you doing that?
Just short of 15.
Oh gosh, okay.
Just short of a pension.
So and it now, because it was just short of a pension, why at that time you said, I want to change, I want to do this?
At my age and no commitments really to life, you don't think about 75 years old.
Right.
So you move on. And you only begin to think about it when you see all your friends retiring with these wonderful pensions.
Got it.
Yeah.
One thing I remember, and I have it right over here, is this wonderful book of yours.
Oh, yes.
It's just gorgeous. And this is your book.
That was, people often ask, do I have a bucket list, of which usually quick to say no, but as I think about it, that was on the top of it. And through the good graces of a good friend of mine who was on the board of a nonprofit, they assisted in its publishing, and the rest is history.
I love it. And people can still, is it still available?
Yes, very much so. They were generous enough to allow me to print enough that is going to hold me over for a while.
Good. It is a gorgeous, it has great pictures, great history to it. So it's really a gorgeous piece.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was, as I said, a work of love. The fact that it is, for what we've been doing all these years, allowing people to see that people with disabilities have abilities. And it includes everybody from Harvard professors to folks who are working either for, in one particular case, in-home type of service or McDonald's type employment. And so it covers all bases and all types of cultures and disabilities.
Right, right. Um, you know, one thing that I was looking through your history, and you were appointed to the Governor of California's Committee on Employment with People with Disabilities.
Yes.
How long were you there?
Almost 12 years. Yeah. It was during an era where the Governor's Committee was very programmatic.
Hmm.
Media Access Awards came under it. The Employer of the Year Award came under it. Scholarship for folks, athletic scholarship for people with disabilities. It was a wonderful program,
Right.
and we hated to see the direction it took.
Yeah.
That
Well,
it came to an end.
yeah, I remember when I first got introduced to the media access office and awards and all there, and I remember seeing you. I mean, you had been there for for such a long time. You're a staple. You're in a way like a founder, gosh, I can't think of the correct terminology, but you have done so much for this community. I mean, and so many people are thankful to you for that.
Well, that's very nice to hear. I very much appreciate it. It has been a journey where something new comes around every year. Needless to say, I'm still working at my age because I'm still finding something out. Every day something else comes around,
Right.
and it's exciting. It's very exciting. I hated to see those programs go by the wayside,
Yeah.
where the committee became a rubber stamp type of committee rather than a thinking and doing committee.
Yeah.
And so consequently, I'm not even sure if it still exists. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then we just have to create more. We have to. I mean, you continued with Damon Brooks.
Correct.
Um, and now, how did the name come about, Damon Brooks?
I, as a teenager, worked in a restaurant in Vermont,
Ah,
up in the mountains of Vermont, the ski resorts. And I was a very shy, naive, did I say naive? Yeah, naive young man
yeah.
who took his summers and worked in the restaurant up at Sugarbush and worked my way through college. Every weekend it was get the thumb out, hitchhike from my college up to the mountains to work in the resorts. And the folks up there, many of well-known people, it was during the days they called them jet setters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was one of the family.
Yeah.
And they treated me like one. And Jason was president of the organization.
Right.
And moving quickly forward, when I started my own company, I was trying to think of folks who were inspirational in my life, and I thought of him, and there we go.
Huh?
Damon was the president of the company.
Uh,
Yeah.
who
And
was?
Brooks is a guy that I ran against in high school
Oh
in
my
track.
God!
I thought that was the coolest first name that he had. So I put the two together,
Yeah.
and that's where it came about. You know, when I first started, I had worked for a short time in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and it was celebrity this, star that, and talking with a number of personalities. Of course, they all hated those terms.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, let's get away from celebrity this. It's just too hokey, and came up with the idea of Damon Brooks, putting the two names together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that story because I was always wondering about that. I was like, it's
yeah.
a company that I love it. And you also work with Christopher Clary?
Chris does most of the media work. He still does, the newsletter, does a blog, keeps up the website. So he's more on the back end, and
Right.
yeah, and he
So,
also was instrumental in helping to put the book together.
okay. And how long has he been working with you?
The book goes back now 2, 3, 4 years. And so he really was kind of in that position. And then when that project ended, and I kind of wanted to maybe slow down a little bit, he stepped in that capacity.
Yeah.
Um, he since has, also thanks to the pandemic, taken a kind of a back seat at this particular time. And
Mm,
as as it has for all of us. Yeah.
right. Right. So who was your first big celebrity or should I say a keynote speaker or performer that you took on?
Gene Michener. Do you remember Gene?
That name rings a bell. Gene Michener.
It would have rang either a wonderful one or maybe one that didn't ring quite with such clarity.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Gene was a pioneer advocate.
Yeah.
And he marched to his own drummer. There's no question about it. He had a rare form of muscular dystrophy and a comedian, and he had a go-to-it attitude. Um, when I was, I was working in the entertainment community, matching celebrities predominantly with nonprofit special events.
Right.
And one of the young cast members from 90210, his mom and I were good friends. And she mentioned to me that she had a friend who was a comedian and
Yeah.
a speaker. Would I like to go listen to him? She knew I was working with a lot of big names at the time.
Yeah.
And so I drove down to Long Beach, and I remember seeing this guy down in the front doing his thing from his chair. And I said, this guy's really good. And so
Yeah.
I went on to him afterwards and said, any way I can help you? And he says, yeah, get me a job. And I must admit, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, this is never going to happen. It did. And Gene, I got a call on a Friday night from the first client who had hired me to get somebody.
Right.
Nobody calls you unless they complain. And I'm thinking, at Friday night, I don't need to hear any complaints. And the gentleman said to me, I don't know if you can hear what's going on in the background, but this guy is great. That was it. I called Gene up, told him how good he was, and he says, that's wonderful. I also have a roommate who uses a chair, and he's a comedian.
So the ball started rolling.
And then we were, no pun intended, on a roll.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And that's the history.
Wow.
And then there was Gene, and soon came Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so Jerry and I have been working together 35 years,
35
37 years. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing too when you have two people who work together and they stay together.
Yeah. It doesn't really happen much in Hollywood, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it has really become a family.
Yeah.
And it's one reason that I probably have kept on this long, because I feel an obligation that there are few other organizations that will take on people with disabilities.
Yeah.
And despite their talent and quality, they don't get represented well.
Even this day and age, I mean, it seems like we're moving forward, but it's still not there, huh?
I don't think so. No, it's um, yeah, I really don't think it's there yet. It's just kind of an unspoken okay type of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I remember that. Of course, this goes back years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
I I promoted a speaker before a national meeting planners group,
Mm,
supposedly the best of the best.
yeah.
And I said to him, you know, this is what we do, and so on and so forth. And the response back from their convention manager, whatever it is, oh, we don't want to bring our people down. We want them to be lifted up. And I'm thinking, oh, have you got it backwards?
Uh,
Yeah, well, these folks aren't going to bring your people down. They're going to bring them up.
oh my God.
And,
Yeah.
and that really was an inspiration to me to say, we've got to really keep going what we're doing.
Right.
That's the message we're trying to get through. Yeah.
Um, well, you know, I just applaud you, and I'm so glad that I consider us family too, because we're in this group together, and thank God for Jerry, because she introduced me to you.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll thank her for that. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was thinking how we met and I really wasn't sure.
Oh, you and I. Now, where did you and Jerry meet?
Um, we met because I had a request for her,
Right.
and it was interesting because she was she was involved in a professional relationship with somebody else who I was working with,
Right.
and that particular event didn't go well.
Uh,
Need I say? And and then I got another request for her, and consequently, I reached out on my own, and we became good friends.
uh, well, yeah. There you go.
Hi, Mark.
Go figure. Hi, Jerry. See you. It looks like you're all packed.
She,
Yeah, you have been an angel in my life so many times. I consider you one of my best friends in life. You, without you, I don't know that I would even have survived long enough to do Deadwood.
Let's not forget Deadwood.
it you extended my life in the entertainment industry that Hollywood couldn't do. You know, you always have to wait for Hollywood to make another decision, and it could be years, whereas you kept me working when Hollywood didn't even look at me.
You know, it's interesting because we share that bond because all of the speakers and performers with whom I've worked have allowed me to feel exactly the same way, that it is a family, and you folks have kept me going.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's been wonderful. David, can I give a little sidebar type of story?
yes, would love it.
Sherry and I had an opportunity to travel to Alaska together. And she was doing a presentation in, I guess it was Anchorage. Come meet. No, it was down further. So it was Anchorage Hope Institute or something of that nature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was in a little auditorium, and Jerry was up on stage, and she had on bright purple necktie and like tails of jacket and a pair of jeans and sneakers with no laces in them.
Yeah.
And it was just really a conversational evening. She did a little bit of her presentation, but a lot of questions and answers. There was a woman.
I remember that. Okay, it comes back now.
There was a woman there at the during the program, And I could tell, she also had cerebral palsy, and she was with a woman who turned out to be her aunt, who was very, very protective. And when we're doing questions, she started to ask a question, and she said, "I have cerebral palsy," and then she begins to cry. And the whole audience, of course, oh, and her aunt encouraged her, I think probably you as well, encouraged her to finish her question. And she said, "How do I become normal?" And all the audience just sighed, wow. And Jerry, without taking a second breath, stands up on stage, and that wasn't easy from the position he was in, and stands there kind of spread-eagled and said, "Look at me. I gave up trying to be normal a long time ago." And the whole audience just rose to their feet, and this woman who was crying got the biggest smile on her face. And, it's a story which is what, 15 years old now?
Oh, yeah.
Has never left me. And these are the stories and the experiences which I've been able to share with a lot of these speakers that I'll never forget.
Wow.
The
what
other night, yeah,
amazing story.
yeah. The other night I had folks in from out of town, and they asked about some personality. I said, "Oh, I have a picture of them 40 years ago." So I went and got this box of 8x10. Remember the glossies, the 8x10 glossies?
Yeah.
I still have probably a couple hundred of them, of people that I worked with over the years.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Why do you keep that stuff?" And I thought to myself, it's my history. It's what has kept me going, and it's how I relate to what we've done over the years. And it has been something which you don't forget.
Hmm.
Yep. So that's the background.
What is your joy? Your joy.
You're looking at it. That's, yeah. The idea Jerry's sitting here with her smiling face in one image, and you're there, and I've had a wonderful opportunity to do what I want in life, and surrounded myself with my little arts and crafts stuff. and,
Hey, you're a wonderful artist. Don't
well,
I see your artwork.
I that's joy. It's yeah. What can I say?
And I will also say this about Mark. I've had surgeries over the years and haven't been as physical sometimes as I am at other times, and couldn't drive long distances. And he would take the time to go with me, to drive me to a gig, to spend the night, to help me physically. I mean, how many agents would take the time to do that? I mean, I am so grateful for you, Mark. You have no idea. And I remember that night that you just mentioned, and it was further south. It was in Anchorage, and I forgot about that. You brought that memory back just now. I can see it in my head. Wow.
Yeah. And David, what was interesting is that it came about through a client with whom Jerry was friends with, Emily.
Yeah.
And she had used my service to get people up to her awards dinner every year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry was one. She became friends with the client, and they have a lifelong friendship going. And this has happened over and over. I have some clients that I've been working with now for 25, 30 years. And I've watched their kids grow up, and we talk, and and that's when you mention joy, that's the joy I get. There's never been that drive to ring the little bell every time a commission comes in. There's been no quotas as to how many accounts you've got to get this week or next week. When I first started, somebody said to me, remember to put that little egg timer in front of you. And at the end of 3 minutes, that's about all you're going to be able to get talking to people and for them to listen. And I did that. And I also threw it out because I felt that was the reason that people would listen to us, is that we would listen to them. And if it took more than 3 minutes, so be it. It took more than 3 minutes.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people do forget to listen, and it's so important.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
This,
And when you do get that opportunity, you can generally tell,
mm,
is somebody interested in listening to you go over 3 minutes or not? And when they do, they're very open. And I hope that it becomes a refreshing part of their day if, you know, we can bring some inspiration with what we're doing to them.
oh, I love this. I love this. You know, I have 2 more questions that I wanted to be sure to ask. And one of them was Damon Brooks Associates is recognized as both a disability-owned business enterprise by the United States Business Leadership Network and a certified LGBT business enterprise by the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Wow.
Correct.
Now, how did I know we focused on the disability, but the gay and lesbian, how did that come about?
The certification there are 6 certifying groups, one for women, one for veterans, one for disabilities, one for gay and lesbian, but there are 6 altogether. The USBLN now is disability : N. They've changed their name. They have a new marketing dimension to it, and that's with them. The guidelines on all of the organizations is that they have to be at least 51% owned by a person with a disability.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's really the guideline to it. And fitting into both those categories, that's how it came about. Yeah.
The last question that I had was, what has been your biggest challenge in your life that when you got through it sort of opened your eyes and said, okay, now I understand why I went through this?
I'm not sure that the last part of your comment is germane to how I was thinking about answering it.
Yes.
The biggest challenge was finding enough work for everybody. And I take some responsibility when we had an open day, for example, or a week might go by that we didn't book somebody.
Mm.
And that on a personal basis was always a challenge to me, in saying, no matter what we're doing, I could be doing more. And just there was that fine line between eat, sleep, and drinking your work as a sole proprietor, and also having a quality of life. And sometimes you just kind of have to sit on the fence, and sometimes you fall over one way, sometimes you fall over the other, in hopes that you don't fall too strongly that you can't get up and ride the middle of the fence again. Being a sole proprietor and being single and not a lot of responsibilities was a blessing, because I could spend a lot of off hours doing this where other people might have family responsibilities.
Right.
And on the other hand, it also allowed me maybe more time than it should have to relax and enjoy the other side of life as well.
Yeah.
So it's been, the challenge has been that equation.
You know, I came in a little late, and you may have already spoken about this topic, but I can remember you being heavily involved in the Media Access Awards in the 80s. Did you discuss any of that before I came on?
We talked a little bit about the Governor's Committee
Okay,
when it was programmatic, before it became a rubber stamp for the governor.
okay.
And it was programmatic versus policy. And yeah, I mean, those are the things that really, really allow you to experience the total community rather than being in an office every day doing your thing, to get out and really see the community. See employers that are making a difference, seeing performers that are making a difference and being recognized for it. It's very important. Yeah, and there were so many wonderful occasions to it.
Yeah, we
Getting,
go way back. Even
Yeah.
before you represented me, I knew of you.
yeah, oh, well, that's exciting, because
Yes, it's true.
yeah, well, it's yeah, it's David, it has become a family.
Yeah.
Alex Valdez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Alex and Jerry share the same birthday.
I did not know that. Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, I knew they were good. I knew they were friends, and she has, you know, in her book, but for some reason, I didn't know it was the same birthday.
Yeah, yeah. I won't say which day it is or which one it is. Although I must admit, I really don't know.
I'm younger.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Alex is now in Indiana, and we still chat on occasion. And gee, all sorts of individuals that have.
Yeah, and Alex got me in the industry.
Yeah, yeah, and boy.
Very interesting how life works, how the connections are made, why they're made.
And
You know, I think my life has been very fascinating in looking at all the connections and why they happen and how they happen. It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
It really is. And I made reference a few minutes ago to a friend that had visited me this weekend, and you know, I got talking about just what we're talking about now, and why at my age am I still working. But this was a fellow who worked for the federal government for 30 years to get that pension so he could retire on the day that he turned 62 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, what a boring life. but it fit him, and that's one reason that he was kind of mind-boggling, as you state, Jerry, about how I got involved with all these activities and little projects, and we only go around this way once.
Right. Right.
Take
Thank
advantage
you
of it.
so much. Thank you. I mean, thank you, Jerry, for the little surprise.
Yes.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was my pleasure.
And thank you, Mark, for you and for all that you do and have done.
Thank you. That means a great deal, and that's the reason I do what I do.